You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Amy Lafitte
and Jennifer Loading.
And whether you are starting a project, starting a business, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. And I'm super excited to be in studio here today with Jennifer on this beautiful Tuesday. And Jennifer, tell me what has been going on with you, sister.
Well, the sun's out today. I'm super excited about that. We have had fog for 2 days, so it's been crazy, clouds and fog. So I'm super excited about that. But in other news, my daughter returned back to college yesterday. Now,
awesome.
This podcast is going to obviously go out in a couple weeks, but she finally went back yesterday. And, it was interesting because I found myself sort of in the same feeling and position that I was in August when we were trying to get her out the door for the first time. There was all the doctor's visits and the hustle and bustling trying to get everything done to get her out the door. And so, yeah, I came in yesterday. I was so tired after getting her out. She didn't leave till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So anyways, but in other news, they did get their rooms painted. We got that finished. They both got their rooms painted.
This is exciting.
Yes, because this has been a 3-week process. It was almost the entire Christmas break that they were working on that. And the rooms are amazing, by the way.
That's so awesome.
They look awesome.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, and we just came off of our amazing event. And it was so awesome. So if you were in the DFW area and you got to attend, thank you so much for coming. We actually had some interest in out-of-towners as well. So I think our next event, we will have a live stream, especially since we have people, watching our podcast all over the world. But it was just amazing. It was crazy because literally in Dallas on Friday night before the event, we had tornado warnings. Not watch. Watch is maybe.
No,
warning is for real.
We had real weather.
So we're trying to, reach out to our last couple of friends, check on them, see if they're going to be able to attend. And here we are in our storm shelters. So that was interesting. And then literally, this is, if you have weather like this across the country, you understand. Literally the next morning, it snowed. It snowed. So, it's kind of crazy that we even had the attendance that we had at our event because we had tornadoes the night before. We had, in some parts of the DFW area, especially up north, 2 to 3 inches of snow on Saturday morning. And we had people that drove through it and came anyway. And so it was really just so fabulous. I love having an event where you can inspire, encourage people towards their goals, their dreams, what they're going for. And it's cool because we have people in all different industries, all different companies. Lots of different backgrounds. We had a ton of networking happening at our event. So it's just a really great way to plug in. And I will give a shout out to our next event. Is going to be April 4th. So put that on your calendars. It'll be a Saturday morning. More details to come. But Jennifer and I are so excited that we already got to do this and start to see some results.
Yeah, no, the event was actually amazing. And the turnout was good, surprisingly, with the weather and everything. But yeah, I definitely think our next one, I kind of made the plug in while we were there that that I don't give up very easily, and so that next event's going to be doubled in size. So we're super excited about that. We're going to really work to promote that, and I'm super excited about it. So a lot of good takeaways and great information and networking as well. Yeah. So good stuff. All right, so I think this week we were talking, Amy and I, about our Starter Girls weekly top 3, and we thought it would be super fun to do our top 3 fictional, what do we say, badass characters, but we have to have one to save. Amy always has to have one she's gonna save, so we're gonna have a little caveat in there, to this whole list. So I'm gonna actually let Amy kick this off and start this. So tell us your 3, Amy.
So when I think of badass fictional characters, the first person I think of is Katniss Everdeen. I loved the book series. I loved the movies. I think Jennifer Lawrence did an amazing job, bringing her to life. But I was obsessed with Katniss before Jennifer even was in the picture. So she definitely is a favorite of mine. And I kind of secretly always have this thing in the back of my head, what if the zombie apocalypse happens? And so I feel like Katniss could survive.
I think so. And those were good shows. They were all good movies.
I know. I really liked it. So the second one is the saving one. I literally thought of because I was just, it's just characters come to mind. And the second one I thought of was Alice in Wonderland. And then I was like, that poor thing. I thought I want to be like her big sister or her business coach or something. There's some seriously poor choices there. And maybe I relate to her a little bit because I was super naive when I was growing up. And so there's a part of her that's just so naive. And I want to help her.
That's what the rabbit's for.
I know. Keep her away from the the Cheshire Cat. He's not good. He's not good for her. And then my favorite character probably of all time, like my favorite movie ever, is Little Women. And I just love the books too, so I would have to say Jo March. Like, she's amazing. And I haven't even seen the new Little Women movie yet. I've heard really good reviews about it. I've been scared to see it because I love the original. Like, it's literally my favorite movie of all time. So, but I've had several friends that have seen both, and they're like, no, you're going to like it. So, I don't know. I guess I'm going to go see the new one.
It's awesome. I like your characters. Well, an interesting thing about Alice in Wonderland, the writer of that story, they said they thought that he had migraines, and so that's kind of how that story was kind of created. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what the background is on that, which would make sense because I have suffered from migraines for years, and there's a lot of aura and stuff that goes on with those things.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't know that I'm thinking about writing, you know, stories about little girls jumping into holes and stuff like that, but you know, I get visual disturbances sometimes, and these little bright lights that go through there, so it's interesting. So I like your characters.
I didn't know that. So yeah. I just always assumed he did drugs and like did mushrooms or something.
No, migraines make you do strange things.
I do agree with that.
They make you do strange things. So, well, those are good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, and the saving one too. It's kind of cool. All right, so mine are not saving. Need saving at all. So my number 3 would be Tinkerbell, and I like Tinkerbell because she's just kind of sassy and walks around. If I could have a wand, that would just be amazing. I could just be like, you're not doing what I want you to do. Zap. You know. So I like Tinkerbell. My number 2 would be Captain Marvel because I just think she's kind of badass. You know, out of all the Marvel characters, I just think she is. And then my number 1 would be Princess Leia. And I like Princess Leia, and it's so funny that I tell this story all the time. When I was growing up, I'm an early 70s child, so Star Wars kind of came out around there. When we were kids, we had this, I don't know, it was a media room. It was a living room at one point, and then my dad built this living room, so it kind of became our pool table room. When pool tables were like really big in the middle of the house, we had Star Wars wallpaper like all over that room. And so it's so funny because I can still picture that Star Wars wallpaper with Princess Leia on the paper.
Oh my gosh,
awesome. Isn't that funny?
She's like the best. Like, she really is like the ultimate, to me, like badass woman character. I mean, really. And the funny thing is like I liked Star Wars a lot as a little kid, but I basically like Star Wars because of Princess Leia and the Ewoks. And my husband laughs because I pretty much love like Empire Strikes Back because that's what it is. Like, that's where the Ewoks are in it. Otherwise, I'm like, is it the Ewok movie? He's like, no. I'm like,
So when we were kids, we had a hamster named Ewok.
Really?
True story.
And you know my dogs, my Brussels Griffins? Yes. You know that George Lucas actually had a Brussels Griffin, and he took pictures of his dog to the costume people, and that's how they created the Ewoks. That's so because of my Brussels Griffins.
Look what we learned today while talking about characters. Star Wars.
I know. Have you seen the new one?
No, I've not seen the new one.
I've seen it twice.
Is it good?
Oh my gosh. I could go see it again.
You've seen it, Bronwyn? Good?
Mm-hmm. So good.
I think I need to
And
check
that was
it out.
not in my time, but Brian made me watch it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now I love it. So
Yeah.
I catch up.
Yeah.
And it does have in it Princess Leia and the Ewoks.
That's awesome. And Ewoks. We like it. We like it. So cool. Well, I think I'm going to have to go see it. I just have not. Interestingly enough, it's so funny. I don't know that anybody in my house really gets into that stuff, and so I'm probably the only one that gets excited, you know, when they have one of these movies that were kind of going from when we were children, you know, like, so I don't know, I'll go check it out. I might have to go by myself.
You'll like it.
Or maybe I'll pull you to go with me and you can see
we'll
it a third time.
Yeah.
See it a third time. Right? All right, this is awesome. All right, well, I am super excited. We have an amazing guest on here today, and I'm going to try to read her bio here. She has an incredible bio. So, Bronwyn Osburn is a money coach and speaker who helps women make the transition from full-time moms to successful entrepreneurs. She started her coaching business in 2017 to help other women deal with the sometimes overwhelming barriers in life. Bronwyn was born and raised in South Africa. She immigrated to the U.S. in 2009. And she's an amazing mom to 2 children. Am I correct, Bronwyn?
Yes.
Yes, and I love her energy, her charisma. She's just a powerhouse speaker, and so she offers a wide range of coaching programs and services, with individual coaching, financial coaching, entrepreneurial coaching, and then she also does seminars and keynote speaking. So amazing. I am super excited to get her on here. She's going to be a powerhouse. You guys are going to love her. I love her energy, and welcome on, Bronwyn.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, well, we can get this thing started.
I know. So we always have just 3 fun, quick questions so people can kind of get to know you a little bit. So, Are you a morning or a night person?
Oh, I used to only be a morning person, but since I'm an entrepreneur now, I'm a night person too. So I think just building that habit of doing that has made me that way.
Yeah.
So that's hard to choose. I think more of a night person now.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
I do find that, yeah. I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, because you're talking to people a lot of times after work,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got to be at least sort of on, or you're doing networking or whatever.
Yes.
So, in fact, I've found it hard. I'm a night person by nature anyway, but I found it hard to become a morning person because of that. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, but I'm going to stay out late, and then I'm hyper, and then I'm trying to calm down. And
It's a struggle when you're a mom, because then you don't have a choice but to be a morning person.
Yeah, exactly. I can only imagine. So a little bit of both. I like that. So cat or dog person?
Neither.
Neither. That's
Don't
okay.
hate me. Y'all
No.
are supposed to love me.
We're not gonna hate you.
No, that's
So
okay.
if I had to choose dogs.
Oh, okay, dogs.
Mhm.
But that's okay. You don't have to be either. Favorite food?
Ooh, that's hard. That's really hard.
You can pick a couple if you want.
Okay. So I'm going to give you my favorite South African food,
Ooh.
and then I'm going to give you my favorite American food.
I love this already.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite South African food, and I think it's only because I miss it, but it's called boerewors and pap. And it's hard to explain, but it looks like the bratwursts
Uh-huh.
and totally different texture and flavor. I can't even explain it. And pop looks like mashed potato, but it's a thicker substance, and you have it with this tomato and onion gravy on top, and you eat it with your hands, and it sounds crazy, but it's so delicious. And I can't compare it to anything over here.
Wow.
So
I'm intrigued.
I
Yes.
am too. Is the pop made out of potatoes or no?
no, it's called mealy meal.
Oh yeah, I've heard of
Mhm.
that. Uh-huh.
Mhm. So I'll have to make it one day for you guys.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, that sounds
absolutely.
amazing.
My
Absolutely.
favorite American food is a hamburger, a
Hamburger.
cheese hamburger.
That's very American right there.
Mhm.
A cheeseburger.
It's not like me. If you ask me that, I'd say Mexican food
Yes.
and margaritas.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. That's us.
Actually,
Well, if you
chips
ask
and-
me my favorite drink.
Yeah, what's your favorite drink?
Well,
Margarita.
sometimes
Okay.
we count those as food.
There you go. Sangria margaritas, we can count that as food. There's
That's
some
right.
fruit in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Depends on the
I
day.
like that. That's
Depends on the
awesome. So tell our listeners just a little bit about you, like, you're, married, kids, your life, like how you kind of got started in your career. Obviously, we want to know a little bit about your background since you were in South Africa and now you're here. So just take it away.
Okay, so born and raised in South Africa, my whole family still lives over there. And I moved to the U.S. when I was 19. I got married in my senior year when I was 17.
Wow.
I don't advise that.
Yeah. Live and learn, right?
Yes. So I had both my kids by the time I was 21 and came over to the U.S., no driver's license, nothing. Absolutely nothing
Wow.
out of high school. I was married at the time, like I said, moved to Sacramento, California, and the person I thought I was in love with was not the person that I ended up being with in Sacramento. So stayed through that relationship for almost 10 years just because I was raised very religiously, and it just wasn't a thing to get divorced, right? And so I was a stay-at-home mom for most of that time. I don't want to say I wasn't allowed to, but it just wasn't a thing in our marriage for me to go out and be my own person, which is completely opposite to my personality. And so I just threw my whole self into being a mom and being with the two kids and focusing all that time on that. Eventually, I got tired of it, got tired of being controlled, and wanted to step away from it. And there wasn't any other option but to step away from it completely because there wasn't a choice for it to go any other way. And so finally I, got involved with the financial industry, got introduced to that, and it gave me this whole new world and excitement and opportunity to know that there was hope for me to become an individual again, become something that my children can look up to and know that I'm going to be okay. And I didn't think that was a choice. And so when this world opened up to me and I started learning all these things, it was something that I dove straight into. And yes, was it a struggle at first? Absolutely. It's, that's one of the biggest decisions to make is it better for me to stay in this toxic way of life and let my kids think that that's how you live, or do I step out and take that scary step and just I don't know, take a leap of faith, right? And so that's how I got into what I do now, and through those experiences, how I throw myself into other women around me, and help where I can. And so now I am in an amazing relationship, which I never, would have ever expected, with Brian, and you know him.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I'm not biased at all, but he has the biggest heart and just loves my children as his own.
Aww.
And now I get to have 3 teenagers, which I absolutely love. And I get to have fun with 5 kids now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I have a question. Did you know, when you say you started off in the financial sector, are you have been with the same company the entire time?
I have.
Wow.
I have.
Wow.
So completely independent with them,
Wow.
which makes us so unique. They give anybody the opportunity. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have experience. We do all of the training, all of everything. So honestly, our team consists of stay-at-home moms, single moms, CEOs of companies that have left. We have doctors that have left their practices that come and do it. So anybody from any walk of life, we just train them from the get-go. And there's a couple licenses to get, minimal expenses, and we just allow them a path to be able to take to become an entrepreneur.
I love it. I love it.
That's really amazing.
And how old were your kids when you started? Because you said you moved here, and they were obviously little at the time. So how old were they when you got into this? Like when you started out in this industry?
Ooh, let me think. So my son was probably 7. Yeah, he's 11 now.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm asking you this because you and I have a lot of similarities, and our stories are a little bit different. Obviously, I didn't come from South Africa, I was married young. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I have been an entrepreneur with little ones pretty much from the get-go. I was 2 when I joined my first company that Amy and I were both in, and I ranked up in that company, but I ended up having 2 more children while I was in that company. And so I know the struggles of being a mom and trying to run a business with little ones. And the thing that always kept me, and I'm sure you can probably resonate with this, was that I always wanted better for my family. I wanted better for my children, and that's what kind of kept me going. That when women would make excuses and say, I can't because my family, I would always say, well, I'm doing this because I want my kids to have something different than what I had. So
I think when you truly get to that point where you have no choice, which is where I was. So when I decided to get divorced, my entire family is in South Africa, right? So I don't have any family over here. I moved from 3 hours away to Dallas. And so it was me and my 2 children. I didn't have anyone to babysit them. I went from being a stay-at-home mom to now needing a career, to completely supporting them in every aspect that they need. And so when I started, it's crazy because this was only 3.5, 4 years ago. I was with them in the mornings. I would take them to school, and I would go in drive for Uber, and because I had my own car. So I'd go drive for Uber, get them from school, be with them in the afternoon. I found another single mom to live with so that we could live in a house and not an apartment for my kids, so that they could have more space. We shared a nanny. She stayed with the kids at night, and I would go bartend till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And during that time, I would still keep doing my business that I knew I needed to do, because I was not going to live a life of working those crazy hours, putting myself in a situation in a car with a stranger, and keep doing that over and over and over for the rest of our lives and just scrape by. I was not okay with that. So I think when you get uncomfortable enough, you make that decision to just push forward and step away from all of that. So even though it's hard, it's totally worth it.
I would agree with you. You just gave me chills.
I know.
With all that. I'm like, I guess she's just like, I'm Ubering and I'm working at bartending. You're just doing what you have to do.
And I was so embarrassed for the longest time to even admit that those were the things. While you're going through that, you kind of want to, hide and not show anybody that that's what you're doing, because we feel judged as a mom, as, why'd you leave your marriage, whatever. But now looking back, if it wasn't for those things, if I didn't get to that low point, I wouldn't be where I am now. And God puts you in a situation so that you can help somebody else. And that's now what I do. So,
I agree with you 100%.
I do too. And it's interesting because I came out of like an abusive, very controlling marriage as well when I was way younger. And so I would love to know, because I know this is a big passion for you, being in that position where you don't have any money, you don't have a lot of choices, you don't have a lot of options, and then you go out on your own, and now you are all about financial security for women. So will you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So once I got to my lowest point, I didn't know anything about money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know how to open up my own bank account. I got married at 17, and I didn't have control over any of that. I didn't know where it went, nothing, especially being in a new country. I didn't know anything. And that being kept from me was hard when I had to go out on my own. I had to now figure all of that out, right? I had to now know how to budget when nobody taught me on how much to spend at the grocery store. I had to now figure out how to pay my electric bill. I had to figure out what the best deal was on car insurance. All of this stuff that you're like, really? You didn't know that? That you think is common sense. It's not when you're not taught it.
Correct.
And so going through those experiences, it puts a fire in you. And, at first you're mad because how did I put myself in the situation that these little dumb things, everyday life, I don't know how to do. Well, when it comes down to it and you learn more about money, there's so much out there, little things that people don't know, and my passion's woman because I went through it, that you don't know about, that is right at your fingertips. Just go and look for it, right? And so what my passion is now is taking that information and putting it in front of people, making them uncomfortable to be able to speak about it and better their lives. And so that's where my passion comes from. Is I've been down at the bottom. I've had to file bankruptcy. I did. Mm-hmm. I had no choice because I didn't know the things I needed to know. And if I can prevent somebody else from getting down to that low, I'll do it all day long.
That's amazing.
I know. I think that's great. Well, and you can tell that she's completely passionate about it, convicted about it. This is how I feel about health. Health and well-being. I mean, I am just... when you've gone through something like this where you've had this personal tragedy, you've had something that you've had to actually live to. I think when you have to go in and do your own research and become your own advocate for yourself, it puts a different kind of fire behind you because now you've walked through it, you've come out on the other side. And when you were talking earlier about, being embarrassed about what you were going through, I always say this. Nobody really cares about what you're going through when you go through it. What they care about is you coming out on the other side and that story that you have to share. And I think that's where you're powerful because you have that incredible story. So I love it.
I do
think
too.
You got me all fired up. I'm excited. She gets me all, I'm like, I knew when we got you in here I was going to be excited to listen to you.
Yeah.
She's just a powerhouse. So I've heard you speak. I know.
Thank you.
So that's awesome. It's awesome. Is there maybe, I know we've talked a lot about your, your ordeal. Was there maybe a childhood experience that happened that maybe kind of triggered who you are today? Other than moving at 17, we know that. You were still a child.
I had an incredible family. I did not want to move.
Yeah.
But no, interestingly enough, there's a couple of things. So I was daddy's girl growing up. I mean, we were 3 girls, but I just was super glued to my dad. My dad's an extremely hard worker, business savvy, and if he was at work on a Saturday, I was right by his desk with him. And so watching that work ethic, watching somebody that no matter what he was going through would drive towards his goals, I think helped push me to become the person I am, helped me through that, down that low in my life, be able to push through that because I watched it, right? And then the other one slipped my mind now. So my dad also always allowed me, he never shut me up for having my opinion. He never, told me to hide my sassiness, told me to hide my confidence. And, I had family that for the longest time would try and push that down. That's not okay. It's not good to be outspoken as a young girl. It's not. But he was like, girl, you go for it. That's go awesome. Get it.
I love it.
And I think having parents like that pushed me, that it was okay. Sometimes, I had to be steered in the right direction because I'd get into trouble for my mouth sometimes. But, which I still do.
Sounds like somebody else I know.
But having that support, which I totally am all about now, being in that part where you don't have anybody and finding your little group again as an adult is hard. But seriously, it is the most important thing to have people around you that support you, and know that when you get into your own head and you think you're by yourself, it's not true. It's so not true. Go out there and meet other people just like you, or people that have been through experiences that are going to support everything you do. That's the biggest thing with success, is having that support system.
I agree.
I totally agree.
I love it.
I know.
You could be a Tinkerbell.
I know. I was thinking that. Like, she'd be a good
Tinkerbell's my
Tinkerbell.
Well, we always kind of joke in here, Bronwyn. It's so funny because I always tease Amy. I'm like, if we're going to break rules, Amy's always nice. Like, she's going to just break the rule and be quiet about it. Yes. Or just sneak off, and then she'll apologize later. I'm going to argue all the way out the door.
That's right.
Yeah. The rule just absolutely sucks. And we're not going to do it. Like, we're not. Until you convince me there's a really good reason we need to do it, we're not doing it.
Oh my gosh, I got into trouble in school all the time for that.
I totally can see that. Can see that.
And it's paying off for you now.
That's
see?
right.
And I love that your dad didn't pull you back from that. He encouraged you. Are you? Oh, so you said you had 3 sisters. Are you the oldest?
2 sisters.
2 sisters. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the middle.
Okay. I was on when you were saying something about your dad. I was like, I have a middle child, and I know how this all goes down.
I know.
That's awesome.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and I'm so intrigued by your story that literally 3 or 4 years ago, you were driving Uber and doing bartending, and you went from that to having a successful career. And also speaking engagements. I mean, not just a little blow up, wow, she's successful, she's stable, big stuff, doing big things. So this question, I think, is going to be really powerful for our audience. So when you're going after a goal or a project, something like that, what is your experience, your schedule, your thought process? What are you thinking about to make things happen? Because you basically took massive action in your life and made some big things happen quick.
Yeah. So my number one thing is get out of your own head.
Hello.
Get out of your own head, because most of the things that you worry about are not ever going to happen. Ever. You think you're in this low spot, and you're not as low as you think you are. So get out of your own head is number one. And it took me a while to get out of that, oh, I'm sorry for myself, what am I going to do? Get out of your own way. So number one is that. And as an entrepreneur, you both know, is you have to remind yourself of that on a daily.
Yeah.
You're worth it. Who the hell says that you cannot have what you want? Nobody, right? My other thing is, and it made a massive impact on my personal life and my business life, is I have this book it's called The Best Self Journal. And it is a planner, but it has your goals in front of you daily, right? So it's 90 days. I don't know if you guys have read the book, The 12-Week Year. It breaks your year into 12 weeks, and it kind of just brings your goals down to something that you can see happening. And so this is a 90-day planner. It's used by the Navy SEALs, I believe. And it just helps you see those in front of you, helps you schedule your day hour by hour by hour by hour, and keeps you on track. Because I'm squirrel, I have to have something that keeps me grounded and focused. And that is one thing that's massively changed what I do and who I am, to be able to just stick to that path. So
I can relate to that. And as she's talking about all this, my brain is going on overdrive right now. I'm sitting here at our event that's coming up. We want you at our event. I think we should get her to speak at our event.
I think so.
I am I'm listening to you, your organization, everything. I love it. My brain. This is how my brain does. It just starts pulling in all this information. I just love all her stuff. So let me ask you a quick question about what you're doing now. So what do you love most about what you get to do now? Is it the speaking? Is it the helping the women? What is your, I guess, you've kind of talked a lot about your passion and what you're doing. What is your best part? What's the best part to you?
The time freedom. The time freedom is huge. Am I where I am? Where I want to be financially today? No. I have a massive goal that I want to meet. But being able to schedule my meetings, my speaking engagements when I want to is the biggest thing. Because, for example, a few days ago, I was sharing this with you earlier, is my nanny quit on me. And if I was in a 9-to-5, I could not call my boss and be like, I need to leave work because I have to go get my kids at 2 o'clock.
Right.
Nope, sorry, you want your job or don't, you know.
Yeah,
you want to come back, you want to make money. Now I can just be like, I'm sorry, I cannot make an appointment today at 2 o'clock. I have to go get my kids and be with them this afternoon.
Right.
I take every single Wednesday off so that I'm spending an entire day with my kids. I take Saturdays off so I can be with my kids. You know, Brian and I joke that the zoo's not busy on a Wednesday morning.
It's true.
You're right.
If I want to
So
pull
true.
my kids out of school and go to the zoo on Wednesday morning because that's what they want to do, that's what I'm going to do, and I don't have to ask anybody for permission.
That's
my
I like
number
it,
one thing.
Bronwyn. That would be mine too. That's what I would say too. It's the autonomy.
Yeah.
It's the freedom to move about. As I would say, free to move about the cabin.
Oh yeah, I know.
I like to have my space and my freedom. And it's so funny, we talk about this all the time because, you know, a lot of the networking events are early in the morning and I get invited to a lot of stuff. And I always say, I'm up early every single day. I'm up like between 5 and 6 every day.
Oh no.
But here's where it gets funny. I value my mornings. Like I absolutely value my mornings. That means I get up, I want to work out, have my tea, have my time, read my books. Kids get out to school, and then I just take my time for me. And then the rest of the day, I can do the other activities that I need because I've had that time. So I'm big on the autonomy. But I also think too, as being a mom with kids, I think that yes, that's a great benefit because having grown up with a working mom, my mom had to deal with that all the time if the kids were sick or, you know, if my sister or one of us had a problem, she had to figure that out. And I've never, the entire time my kids have been alive, I've never had to really make compromises.
Yeah.
So, and you're right, it's not always easy, but it is worth it.
It totally is.
I love it.
Well, and we would also love to know, I mean, because you've got a lot of really amazing qualities, but what's what do you feel like is your strongest quality? Like, what's made a big difference for you in your life?
Relationship building.
Mm.
Definitely a relationship building. I am a huge energy person. And so one of my strengths is for sure reading people.
Yeah.
Wanting to know other people's stories.
Mm.
I thrive off of it. So that's definitely my biggest one, I would think.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always love to know the stories of people. I feel like that's how you really get to know somebody. Those stories that make them who they are.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're not building relationships, you're not building business.
Well, I feel like it's just everything in life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, our daily living is based off of relationships that we give others as well as around us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, question about your company. What makes the company that you're associated with unique?
Okay. So it is independent. We have no ties. And how I like to explain us is we are the Foot Locker of the financial services industry.
I love
So
it.
if you're going to look for a pair of athletic shoes and you walk into Nike, what shoe are you getting? Nike. If you walk into Adidas, you're getting an Adidas shoe.
True.
You can't go choose a Nike. You can't go choose a Skechers. You can't go choose whatever other brand. But if you walk into a Foot Locker, I'm looking for this type of shoe. I want to run. What is my selection? Well, we have Adidas. We have Nike. We have blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, there's not one size fits all with anything. And so what I love and about us and what makes us unique is, number one, we're all about education. Educating on how money works and getting it out there what people don't know is number one. Number two is I can sit down with my clients in front of them with their spouse, with their family, and see what their need is and go to the marketplace and see what's going to fit my client best. I'm now not going to put you into one specific product because I need to make money off of that. So that's what I love about us and what makes us so unique.
Well, I think that's great, and I think you're unique too. And I think the pairing of the company that you're associated with and you coming together is a unique pattern because you're just, I think, you know, the relationship building is huge. And I love, we had already kind of discussed this about not, you know, if you're only associated with one company and the particular product that you're offering somebody, they don't want that, then you're really, what do you do at that point? How do you keep that going? And so if you have the ability to offer more, I think it takes away one, being selfish. I think it gives you the ability to think about your client, put them foremost in the front line, and what can I do to help them in the best way possible. So I love it. I think you got it going on, girl. I like it.
And my services are free. I do not charge to sit down with anybody, which that's huge to me, especially working with women.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think women and financial stuff. It can be overwhelming for women. So to even have a woman that you can talk with is, I think, important as well. So, well, and who would you say is like your biggest influence?
That's a hard question. So I'll tell you why it's hard, and I hate that question.
Oh,
Sorry. I know. I'll tell you why. For the longest time, I am a huge people pleaser. And I look up to a lot of people, but I have not tied myself to one specific person, because a few years ago, I would make myself sick over not becoming like somebody.
Wow.
And to put that pressure on myself is not healthy for me. And I'm never going to be that person. God didn't make me to be Julia Roberts or whoever. God did not make me. God made me. And so I look up to a lot of people, and I take little things from them, but I don't have a specific somebody I want to be like.
I like that.
I can
Does that answer
understand
that
that. No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I used to be that girl when I was a little girl. I literally would read like the Vogue articles of like Drew Barrymore, and I would find out about her, and I would be like, okay, I'm going to change this, and I'm going to change this. And it was really unhealthy. And it was definitely something I did more in my teens and even my early 20s. And yeah, I don't do that now, but I do love to, like you said, I grab certain things from certain people, and we always learned, like, you don't want to follow somebody that you wouldn't want to have their life. And I've even learned, like, there's certain sections of people's lives, like, they're really good in this section, so I want to copy them in this way, you know, and then these other people are really good in this other area of their life, so I want to copy, you know, so it's like you said, it's kind of grabbing different things from different people, so that's really great.
I like that response. I can relate to that. I like it.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good. All right, so what advice would you give your younger self?
Do things that make you happy, not that makes other people happy.
That's great.
That's huge. Growing up, I wanted to make mom and dad happy. I wanted to make my aunts and uncles and my grandma happy. I never, for the longest time, for years, ever thought, what's going to make me happy? You know, I actually met with, I don't know if you know who Sharon Lecter is. So she's co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
So say the name sounded familiar.
And she's actually a massive influence in my life and someone that I do look up to. Just speaking of powerhouse woman, she's incredible.
Wow.
And Brian and I actually flew out to Arizona to go meet with her just for a one-on-one coaching session. And I didn't know he was doing this, but he actually had it there just for me. He wanted her to focus on me and not just our business. And she asked me, she asked me what it is I want to do in this life. What's the one thing I want to do, and what's going to make me happy? And I just broke down. I thought I had it figured out, you know, but for, like I said, the longest time I just focused on everybody else's happiness around me, that I never thought. And you get lost in that really easily, especially when you're a mom and a wife and in a career. You focus on everything else and everyone else around you, and so you forget to look at you and make yourself happy. So
that's so good.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, sorry.
We're all engrossed in this conversation.
I'm thinking about, I think that's like such a good question. Like, what is the one thing, if you could have one thing in your entire life that would make you happy? That's like a very profound, like, it's such a simple but such a profound question. So I think I was sitting there asking myself that question.
Yeah.
So what is your charitable cause for our world?
That's hard too. You guys have good questions.
I want to make you think just a little bit.
Yeah. Charitable cause. Can giving your heart be one?
You can be whatever you want to.
I mean, I feel like that's like a pageant answer. Give your heart. But it is. It's giving your heart. Be true to other people. I think we all need that from each other. I'm going to go with that one.
I like that.
I like it. I'm going to ask you another question before we get all your contact information. What do you like to do for fun?
Ooh, okay. So, shopping.
No.
If I had all the money in the world. I love to dance, and I actually haven't done it for years. So I'm a qualified ballet teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I owned my own studio at one point. I've danced since I was 3. I've done hip hop, jazz, ballet, contemporary. And ballet is just what I'm naturally good at, and so I stuck to that. I have won awards and done shows and everything, and I absolutely love it. And I became a mom, and I put everything behind me. And so this year, one of my major goals is to get back into the studio. And seriously, that is one thing that I love to do is dance.
Hey, I would come watch you dance.
Oh, thanks.
I took ballet for many years, and I actually have a cousin that's an instructor as well. So,
really?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't take it near as long as you, but I did probably 9 or 10 years of dance, so I'm familiar with it. But I would come watch you.
Yeah, there's this, so we office out of the Formation at the Star in Frisco, and right across from our office there's this dance studio, and it's all glass windows, so at night you can just see all the ballerinas. Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
Well, let us know when you get that going. We'll come out and check it out.
I even have a business for you, because there's all these like adults trying to learn how to do TikTok, and some of us are very poor dancers. I literally was driving here this morning, and I was like, I wish somebody would make a TikTok dance video tutorial class
how to
for adults that really suck at dancing. Like, I've legit, I would pay money for this. So
that
just saying.
There you go. Okay, have another business on the list, right?
Yeah.
It'd be TikTok dance instructing class. It only lasts 30 minutes because you just got to teach them how to do like a, what is it? 30 second,
it's like 60.
Yeah, how to do a pirouette.
Yes.
1 through 5.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
I love it.
I love it. This has been awesome. So, Bronwyn, if our guests wanted to get in touch with you, we mentioned earlier we were going to put your bio. We will get that attached in there so people can find your information. But tell us how you want. What's the best way to contact you?
My direct cell phone number.
All right.
It's on me 24/7, and I love that relationship. I'm not call my assistant or get on my Google account. No, just text me, call me directly. Do you want me to get my phone number?
Either way, you can tell us now, or we can attach it on
You
there.
can
We can put it
attach
on the
it.
bio.
Yeah,
We've got it on your
that's
bio. We've got all that good stuff on there. So awesome.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add to tell us? Anything you want us to know, our listeners?
Come to our book launch on February 17th.
Okay.
We
Awesome.
have a book called How Money Works Stopping a Sucker, and our business partner in Atlanta has taken everything that they've learned from the wealthy and brought it down to everybody else, because we have access to all of it. We just don't know about it. So all about education. Come and have fun with us. We're celebrating Brian's 17th year in the industry as well. So food, drinks, it's at the Lincoln Center at the Star.
And what day is that again?
February 7th.
Okay.
Yes.
We can actually, if you make sure remind me to get that information, we can tie that in there as well to make sure that our
Sounds
listeners
good.
know about it.
And if anybody wants access to a book, contact me directly, and I will get that out to them.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right. Anything you want to add, Amy?
No, other than just thank you so much, Bronwyn, for your time, and
Thank you, guys.
just such an amazing, inspirational, time with you today.
Thank
so
you.
Yeah, she's
you
a
for having
powerhouse. Absolutely, it's been fun. All right, well, I think it's time to wrap up with our Starter Girls mantra. All right, it's a great day to be brave. You are not getting any younger. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up and be amazing. Be you, do you. All right, to our listeners, we want to say this. If you enjoy our podcast, please be sure to give us a rating on iTunes and all platforms. Also on Facebook, because we can't do it without you. In the meantime, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.
Bye.